In the bustling town of Rivenwood, a strange event was about to unfold, a tale of enchantment, whimsy, and unexpected transformation. It all began with Mr. Whiskers, a curious little kitten with an insatiable curiosity and a penchant for adventure. Mr. Whiskers lived with an elderly inventor named Professor Eldridge, whose house was filled with strange contraptions and mysterious potions. One day, while chasing a particularly elusive red laser dot, Mr. Whiskers stumbled into Professor Eldridge's lab. The room was aglow with bubbling beakers and intricate devices, ticking and whirring with a life of their own. In the center of the lab was a table laden with glass vials, each labeled with cryptic names. Perched precariously close to the edge was a vial tagged Essence of Transformation. As kittens are wont to do, Mr. Whiskers pounced, a miscalculated leap that sent the vial tumbling, shattering on the floor. A strange, luminescent fluid gushed forth, coating Mr. Whiskers in its shimmering substance. For a moment, the world seemed to pause as the kitten blinked, trying to understand what had just happened. Suddenly, a tingling sensation coursed through his tiny body. Before he knew it, Mr. Whiskers began to change. His fluffy fur dissolved, replaced by a translucent, gooey texture. His tail morphed into a wobbling extension, and his paws became amorphous blobs. Startled by his reflection in the polished tiles, Mr. Whiskers realized he had transformed into a slime monster. Despite the change, his curiosity remained undeterred. Slipping and sliding, the new slime monster whisked through the lab, his form constantly shifting and reshaping. Professor Eldridge, hearing the commotion, entered the lab and was initially startled to see his kitten in such an unusual state. The professor, however, was nothing if not accustomed to the unexpected. With a thoughtful chuckle, he adjusted his spectacles and began formulating a plan to restore Mr. Whiskers to his former self. But as days turned into weeks, the kitten-turned-slime creature found joy in his newfound abilities. He could now flow through the narrowest of gaps, reshape himself at will, and even change colors by absorbing various substances. The townsfolk of Rivenwood were initially bemused, then delighted by the antics of the playful slime monster. Children loved watching him morph into balloons and bouncing balls, and traces of him could often be found glowing in the moonlight in the night market, entertaining late-night vendors. However, while Mr. Whiskers enjoyed his escapades, he still missed the simple pleasure of purring in a sunny window or curling up on a cozy lap. Professor Eldridge, too, missed the softness of his little feline friend. Eventually, after much experimentation, Professor Eldridge concocted a reversal potion. With a swish and a swirl, Mr. Whiskers was engulfed in another cloud of sparkling mist. And when it cleared, the adorable kitten was back, purring happily, though perhaps with a glint of newfound wisdom in his eyes. Mr. Whiskers, now back in his fluffy form, still retained memories of his adventures as a slime monster, and every so often, one could swear they saw him glide a little smoother or disappear down impossibly small spaces. And so, life in Rivenwood returned to its usual eccentric rhythm, keeping its magical secret snugly tucked away in a corner of Professor Eldridge's lab. Who knew what other marvels lay hidden there, waiting to be discovered by a curious heart or inquisitive mind?